Welcome everybody, and today we will understand about constitutional amendments in GST. And for the purpose of GST, lot of constitutional changes were required. Why it was required, how it is required, what is done, what are the changes in constitution, and so many things we are going to discuss in this lecture. So stay focused. Now let's start. First thing, actually when government decided that they want to bring GST, so when they decided to bring GST, till that time how the laws were made, we discussed in the last lecture, you remember? Central government taxes were different, state government taxes were different, right? So central government can levy tax on manufacture of goods or provision of service, whereas state government can levy tax on sale within a state. You remember entertainment tax. So center has totally separate powers to levy tax on certain matters, and state had totally separate powers to levy tax on certain other matters. So now the problem is, if center has separate powers, state has separate powers, government wanted to bring GST as an integrated tax. What do you mean by that? I'll explain, don't worry. Integrated means combined tax. Oh, that means central will not separately levy tax, state will not separately levy tax, but they will collect tax together. That's why I said integrated tax. Now, so many old taxes have to be subsumed. Like central government had central excise duty, additional duties of customs like countervailing duty, additional special countervailing duty, service tax, right? Then state government also had certain taxes like taxes on lottery and betting, taxes on sale within a state like VAT. So many taxes have to be merged, we can say subsumed for our exams. Okay, and then an integrated taxation was required. But presently the constitution has limitations, because article 246 says list 1 central government can levy tax, list 2 state government can levy tax. But can they levy tax together? There is no such power. And because of the limitations of article 246, government had to bring new articles in the constitution, and that's why constitutional amendment was required. Now government proposed the constitutional amendment bill 122. So we can say 122nd constitutional amendment bill. And because government want to bring GST faster, so it went to the parliament, lot of discussions happened, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, so much of controversies, discussion, understanding, disagreement, right? That's what democracy is. And finally government and opposition all together passed the bills by majority, and it became 101 Constitutional Amendment Act. It became what? 101 Constitutional Amendment Act. So we brought the GST. Right? Now I'll tell you. So when GST was brought, the first article which was to be brought is a alternative to 246A, which has more power than 246, and that's 246A. Now what is this 246A? It gives the power to center and state to levy tax together, right? It gives the power to center and state to levy tax together. That's why when you read this article, you see on the screen also, notwithstanding. So I am discussing article 246A clause 1. Okay. Right, when I kept in the box 1, that here means clause. Okay. So notwithstanding anything contained in article 246 and article 254. Now you remember both the articles we discussed in the first lecture itself, I feel. So what I tried to convey there, article 246 says separate power to state, separate power to center. And article 254 says that if there is a conflict, disum, fighting between center and state, then center will be dominating. Now, if center is dominating, then why will all state governments agree? Not agree, right? That's why they said notwithstanding anything contained in article 246 and 254. Now when you read the law like this, they clearly want to convey that this 246A is more powerful than 254 and 246. So 254 says center has more power. 246A says, sorry boss, I am the most powerful. So this most powerful section, article 246A says that in relation to goods and services tax, the parliament means central government, and the state legislature means state government, can make the law. Okay, can make the law. But they said that state legislature can also make the law, but subject to clause 2. That means state government can make the law, but there are some things which are mentioned in clause 2. On that, state government cannot make the law. Now, let me discuss this clause 2, then I'll again explain clause 1 in detail. Okay, let us come to clause 2. Simply I'll tell you, if suppose Telangana state government has to make the law, can it make the law for Madhya Pradesh? No, right? Can Telangana make the law for Assam? No, right? Can Telangana make the law for Jammu and Kashmir? No. Can Jammu and Kashmir make the law for Tripura? No. So one state government cannot make the law for another state government. Correct? So whatever state makes the law, it will be for that respective state only. Whereas when central government make the laws, it will make the law for the whole country. Now I will tell you. Now GST is a tax on goods and services. Correct? Suppose goods are sold in Telangana. Suppose example, I have a Kirana general store. I sold the goods in Telangana. Now central government is involved, state government is involved. No problem. Central government is anyhow one, state is Telangana, that's it. Simple. But if suppose I sold the goods from Telangana to Madhya Pradesh, how many people are involved? Center, Telangana state and Madhya Pradesh state. Now this Madhya Pradesh and Telangana should not fight with each other. No conflict should arise. No dispute should arise. That's why if any supply means sale or service, both are covered. Okay. If any supply happens between one state to another state. Now one state to another state means interstate supply. What does that mean? Interstate supply. So when sale happens, when service is provided between two states. So suppose example, I am giving classes from here. Now my students are spread across the country. somebody from Kerala, somebody from Tamil Nadu, somebody from Madhya Pradesh, somebody from Bihar, somebody from Assam. So many states are there. People listen to my classes, understand the lectures, and get great results in taxes. Now, am I giving supply or service in one state, or I am spreading over multiple states? Multiple states. Now, if government has to collect GST from me, so many states are involved, it will create chaos. It will create some conflict. So, this clause 2 of Article 246A says that in relation to interstate supply, in relation to sale or service between two states, central government has the power to make the law. Who has the power to make the law? Central government only has the power to make the law. So that means if a sale happens between two states, state government cannot make the law? Absolutely right. Only central has the power to make the law. Now later on I will tell the name in detail, but simply remember it is interstate supply, INTER, interstate supply. That means sale within between two states, right? Sale between two states or service provided from one state to another. In this case, we use the word inter, INTER. INTER. Please remember interstate supply. On that, central government can only make the law. And that law's name is IGST. IGST means Integrated Goods and Services Tax. Okay, very good. Now suppose somebody sold the goods from America and I purchased it in India. Like I use so many softwares for providing classes to you. Most of the softwares are made in India, but some are outside India. So when I purchase a software from America, now there are no two states involved, only one state, Telangana. But still a different country, America, is involved. And in this case also, IGST law will apply. That means central government can only make the law. That's what clause 2 talks about. Okay. Now, connect this clause 1 with clause 2. Can central government make the law for sale in any state? The answer is yes. So, Parliament can make the law whether the sale is between two states or within one state. But if state government has to make the law, it can make the law for that respective state only. And that's why in clause 1 they wrote that Article 246A gives the power to the Parliament to make the law relating to goods and services tax, and also the state legislature, but subject to clause 2. That means if it is sale between two states, from Madhya Pradesh to Telangana, right, like Karnataka to Kerala, then only central government has the power to make the law, and that law is called as Integrated Goods and Services Tax. If sale is from America to India, that means import, whether it is import of service, whether it is import of goods, then also central government only can make the law, that is Integrated Goods and Services Tax. Done? Okay. Now you are clear with this. There is an explanation for us to understand. That is 279A clause 5. 279A clause 5. What is this? 279A, Article 279A clause 5. Now, we all discussed in the last lecture that GST is a tax on goods and services other than alcoholic liquor for human consumption. So, on alcoholic liquor for human consumption, there is no GST. But what about HP man? HP man means 5 products I am going to discuss, which are explained in 279A clause 5. Okay, what are they? H for high speed diesel oil, P for petroleum crude, M for motor spirit, A for aviation turbine fuel, yani petrol for aeroplanes in simple language. Okay, then last one, natural gas. These are the 5 things. Now, if you feel natural gas is something very low quality, for your knowledge, Japan is launching space rockets with natural gas. To be more specific, cow dung. Right? The Western world criticized about cow dung. You Indians, oh so nice, bad smell. But that's now used to create biogas, natural gas, which is even used in rockets. And that's the cheapest, eco-friendly way in which we can use it as fuel. So there are a lot of things going to happen. Be ready for a massive change in Indian economy and be a part of that change. Right? Now, let's continue with Article 279A Clause 5. So, 5 products I said. HPMAN. H, high speed diesel oil. P, petroleum crude. M, motor spirit. A, aviation turbine fuel, aeroplane ka petrol, right? And last one, N for natural gas. For these products, when you go to a petrol pump, do you see that when they give the bill, GST is added there? Answer is no. There is no GST added. Why? Because of course these products are brought into GST, but they are still not notified. That means government did not tell the date from which date GST should be implemented on these 5 products. Okay, what are the 5 products? High speed diesel oil, petroleum crude, motor spirit, aviation turbine fuel, natural gas. On these 5 products, from which date GST will be brought? That will be notified by the government on the recommendations of the GST Council. Now, we understood Article 246A and 279A Clause 5. Now, 246A talks about what? 246A says, notwithstanding anything contained in 246 and 254. So, ये 2 articles तेल लेने गए, right? And 246A will be more powerful. Okay. Parliament and state legislature have the power to make law in relation to goods and services tax. But state government cannot make the law in relation to supply of goods and services between 2 states. That means interstate supply. Right? Only center has the power to make law in relation to sale between 2 states, that is Article 246A Clause 2. Then we discussed that 279A Clause 5, and that talks about these 5 products: high speed diesel oil, petroleum crude, motor spirit, aviation turbine fuel, natural gas. For this, they are included in GST, but from which date this will come under GST, government will tell on the recommendations of GST Council. Sir, in clause 1 also we saw GST Council. Here also you are telling GST Council. What is this GST Council? GST Council is a group actually, where central and state ministers come together to discuss about GST and decide what we should do with GST law. Because now GST is an integrated tax. That means center and state together will levy. So they should sit together some place, discuss something at that place and take some decisions. For that a council is created. We'll discuss about it in the next lecture in detail. Don't worry. Okay. That is GST Council. So petroleum crude, all this will come under GST once GST Council notifies it. Okay. But there is another article which is changed, and that's Article 248. Now, before GST, central government always had an upper hand. State government is always lower. Center is upper, state is lower. But now what happened? Both should be made equal, at least for GST. Correct? So that's why Article 248 changed. 248 was to say that there is list 2, state government list. Correct? As per schedule 7, list 2, state list. Correct? List 3, concurrent list. You remember? Very good. Now if any item is not covered under list 2 and list 3, then central government has the power to make the law in relation to that. So if any item is not covered under list 2, 3, central government can make the law. This is perfectly fine. But after bringing GST, they added something to this Article 248. They said subject to goods and services tax. That means GST is one exception. Relating to goods and services, only the GST Council will recommend and state and center together will make the law. Center will not have upper hand in relation to GST. That's what Article 248 said. Again I am repeating, 248, can I say general rule and exception? The answer is yes. General rule is, if something is not discussed about in state list and concurrent list, that is list 2 and list 3, then central government has the power to make the law. This is general rule. Exception, GST, goods and services tax. Here central government will not have upper hand, both are equal, both are together. Okay. Now come to Article 269A. Super easy article, right? We already discussed it. That's why I am saying. Okay. In relation to supply of goods from one state to another state, that means sale between the states, or we can say service is provided from one state to another, like transport services are there. Transport services, it cannot be restricted to one state, right? Some mechanical products are made in Punjab, they travel across the country and are sold in different states. Diamonds are manufactured in Gujarat, they are supplied to all the states, right? Some products are special in some states, so they are sold across the country. Now for supply of goods or supply of services from one state to another, Article 269A talks about. It says central government has the power to make the law on interstate supply, right? And it can also make the laws relating to import, right? Import means from America the goods are sold in India, then it is also treated that it is between two states, and on the imports also IGST, integrated goods and services tax, will be levied. Now one more thing to remember. Now where the service is provided, suppose example I am using a software, that software is created by Americans, I am using that software in India. Now where the service is provided, is it provided in the cloud in America or the end user in India? Are you able to understand? Like when you use Microsoft internet based applications, the cloud is in America, right? The storage, the usability, the features are all from America, but usage is in India. Now where the service is provided, what is the place, India or America? So regarding this also, central government only has the power to make the laws. Who has the power to make the laws? Central government. Clear? Yes or no? Very good. This is Article 269A for you. Now taxes subsumed, we discussed. Central taxes subsumed, central excise duty, right? Additional duties of customs, service tax. Are you able to recollect? This way central sales tax. These are the central taxes which were subsumed. Then we discuss state taxes, entertainment tax, taxes on lottery, VAT within a state. If sale happens, then VAT was levied, purchase tax, entry tax, octroi, so many were there. So these central taxes gone, state taxes gone, right? And GST is created. But there are some taxes still continuing. Like example, entertainment tax levied by local authority. Local authority means municipality. In Hyderabad, Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation. In Mumbai, Bombay Municipal Corporation. Correct? So this municipal corporation may levy entertainment tax that still continues. So GST is separate. This entertainment tax by local authority is still there. It is not cancelled. Like on petroleum, state government levies VAT. That still continues. On tobacco products, central government levies excise duty. That is still continuing. Property taxes, which are levied by state government on buildings or land, that still continues. Right? So this way there are some taxes which are still continuing. So of course government said one nation, one tax GST. They said. But such a big country like India, it cannot become an absolute reality. But yes, 17 plus taxes were subsumed. That means at least government has reduced the taxes to a substantial amount. Correct? Now, so taxes subsumed clear. Sir, GST we have to discuss. You said Article 246A, Parliament can make the law. Then you said state government can make the law. How can it be? We'll discuss in GST laws. See here. Small table. Just check. Okay. Now for this to be explained, I should tell you that there are some things called as intra-state supply. Intra. I-N-T-R-A. Intra. Intra. I-N-T-R-A. Intra. That means within one state. Suppose example, I go to a saloon or some beauty parlor or whatever it may be. I go and do facial, golden facial. Okay. When I do facial, the service is provided within one state, right? In this case, the service provider, the parlor wala and the service receiver, that is me, both are in one state, right? So if this happens, we call it as intra-state supply. Suppose example, besides my house, there is something called as Anand Masala. Now what this Anand Masala people do is, they create lot of different types of masala and then they sell within the local limits, within Telangana. Okay. In that case also, you should understand that it is a good, right? Masala is a goods. So they sold within a state. So if sale happens within one state, then we call it as INTRA, intrastate supply. And on that, there are two taxes levied, one by the central government, that we call it as CGST, and another by state government, that is SGST. One by central government, CGST, another by state government, SGST. Now you may say, sir, GST one nation, one tax, here two tax. Arey yaar, I'll tell you, don't worry. Just listen to me carefully. Now, I said CGST, SGST. When you go to Santosh Dhaba, eat some very nice vegetarian food, in that case, when you get the bill, you will see along with you were price, menu, whatever you ordered. Last, they will add CGST, SGST. Correct? So, what is this? This is basically a single tax, right? You are not paying CGST separately to the hotel or SGST separately to the hotel. So for customer, it is GST. Okay, for customer, it is single tax, that is GST. Now you may agree or disagree. That is how government designed it. Okay, right. So for customer, it is GST. And for government, they have to divide, right? Paisa vasool karna, share karna, right? So central government will get the CGST amount and state government will get the SGST amount. So this happens in INTRA supply, CGST and SGST within one state. For that, I said that Parliament can make the law, right? Article 246A reference, that Parliament made the law, Central Goods and Services Tax Act 2017. Then I said state government can make the law. That's why State Goods and Services Tax Act 2017. Sir, State Goods and Services Tax Act, is it a single act? No. Every state has their own State Goods and Services Tax Act. Like Telangana State Goods and Services Tax Act 2017, Jammu and Kashmir State Goods and Services Tax Act 2017. Now, I'll tell you, you should understand that INTRA, intra-state supply or intra-state sale with or service, CGST, SGST, both will be levied. So for that, Parliament made the law, state legislature made the law. And that's why CGST Act 2017, SGST Act 2017. That's it. But suppose, what about Andaman and Nicobar Islands? What about newly formed Ladakh? What about Daman and Diu? What about, sir, in controversy, Lakshadweep? मालदीव्स जाने का प्लान किया ना, मारूंगा कैमरा से बाहर आके, राइट? सो मालदीव्स कैंसल, जाना है लक्षद्वीप जिंदाबाद. ओके, वेरी गुड. सो व्हाट वी डिस्कस्ड दैट these are called union territories. इसको क्या बोलेंगे अपन? Union territory. So for state governments, state GST is there, SGST Act 2017. But what about these union territories? They said UTGST Act 2017, Union Territory Goods and Services Tax Act 2017. Suppose example, some sale happens in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Some sale happens within Lakshadweep. Then CGST and UTGST will be levied. What will be levied? CGST and UTGST. Sir, what about SGST? अरे वो यूनियन टेरिटरी है भाई, SGST नहीं रहेगा, right? There will be no SGST. In Telangana, CGST, SGST. In Delhi, CGST, SGST. अरे sir, Delhi? अरे yes, Delhi is a union territory. I also agree. But Delhi has a state legislature. There is a chief minister. Are fraudival? Yes or no? Right? So there is a chief minister in Delhi. So in that case, what happens when there is a chief minister in a union territory? So we can say union territory with state legislature. And when there is a state legislature, automatically SGST will come, right? So Delhi is there, Puducherry is there. These are the two places where state legislature is there. That's why even though it is a union territory, right? Even though it is a union territory, SGST will be levied. And in all other places, if it is a union territory, definitely we have to remember that SGST, no. If it is a union territory, UTGST. If it is a state, SGST. If it is a union territory with state legislature, then obviously SGST will be levied. Done? Now, sir, this IGST already discussed in detail, right? Interstate supply, between one state to another, Madhya Pradesh to Telangana, Telangana to Assam, interstate supply के ऊपर as per article 246A clause 2 IGST can be levied, correct? So IGST, central government made a separate law, Integrated Goods and Services Tax Act 2017. Clear to all of you? Very good. So how many types of laws are there under GST? GST is one nation, one tax. But there is a Central Goods and Services Tax Act 2017. There is State Goods and Services Tax Act 2017. Right? There is Union Territory Goods and Services Tax Act 2017. There is Integrated Goods and Services Tax Act 2017. Right? Very good. Now, actually, sir, is it not better that if central government collects all the money and then gives it to state? Do you feel that state governments will agree? Is it possible? Suppose let's assume there is a state where? Okay. There is a state where Congress government is there and central government is BJP. Now both have to sit together and decide who will collect the tax. Will Congress agree कि आप collect कर लो मोदी जी and then give it to us? May not agree, correct? So that's why we did not adopt this model that central will collect all the taxes and give 50% to states. We did not adopt this model. What we adopted is dual model GST. What we adopted is dual model GST. Dual model GST means where both the governments will collect the tax at the same time. How it will happen? Suppose when you go to Santosh Dhaba, eat there, you'll get a bill, CGST, SGST, correct? Included in the bill. So CGST portion will go to center and SGST portion will go to state. But sir, पहले कोई तो भी collect करना ना. I agree, whatever you said. So that's why government created a website gst.gov.in. In that website, when Santosh Dhaba pays the GST amount, he will write CGST this much, SGST this much. And when he makes the payment, that respective payment will go to that respective government's account. CGST will, देखो, you are paying into one bank account, but the amount is going to two different accounts. Okay, that's how the software is designed. So no conflicts between state and center. Even though in the past central government was to eat in its own separate plate, state government was to create a small plate and it was to eat in that plate. The plate is bigger, but the share is clear. This part your, that part mine. Clear? That's how they said. Now dual GST model clear to you? Canada has dual GST model which we adopted. That's what books say. Irrelevant, right? But still MCQ aa gaya to I have to share. I shared. Now come to the next thing. So Canada has GST model, dual GST model. We followed it. Now GST compensation cess. This is what we have to discuss now. What do you mean by GST compensation cess? Sir, ये CGST, SGST, UTGST, IGST बस नहीं हुआ क्या? Is it not enough? Answer is absolutely not enough. So government said we will levy another tax, that is GST compensation cess. Now story behind it I'll tell in short. What happened when Modi ji came to power? He wanted to bring GST as early as possible. Now whatever, you hate him or you love him, but everybody trust him, that's for sure. बोले तो करेगा यार, भरोसे का आदमी है, पक्का आदमी है, काम वाला आदमी है, right? People trust him. So when they were discussing about GST, state governments were not ready. State government said if suppose we bring GST and we lose revenue, right? Before GST we were to collect VAT, state government का बोल रहा हूँ मैं, okay, entry tax, octroi, right, and all that we were getting 10,000 crores. Now if after GST if we don't even get that 10,000 crore, then we'll fall in trouble. Modi ji will fall in trouble. What to do? Modi ji said, "Bharosa rakho, Gujju ka bharosa hai," right? And he simply said that don't worry, up to first 5 years of bringing GST, any loss to the state government, in its revenue collection, right, compared to the past, all that loss will be paid by central government. So how many states? 28 states plus 3 union territories with state legislature, including Jammu and Kashmir, correct? So all this, 3 means Delhi, Puducherry and Jammu and Kashmir, right? All this totally 28 plus 3, 31, right? Now all this, if anybody gets lost, central government promised that they will pay. But how will the central government pay? So central government said, lagao aur ek tax. Simple, right? Impose another tax, and that is goods and services tax. Still, naam GST hai na, right? Single tax, one nation, one tax. So government imposed one more tax, and that is GST compensation cess. But this time what government did, it did not impose GST compensation cess on all the products. Sabke upar nahi. Only on 6 products it was levied. On how many products, my dear students? 6 products. What are they? Pan masala, right? Tobacco and tobacco products. Cigarettes and cigars. These people who consume all these 3 live in lot of frustration actually, right? Because neither they can leave these habits, and people will scold left, right, but they have to consume this. So they always keep quiet and enjoy that experience, which ultimately leads to cancer, all that diseases, right? So destroying the whole family in real sense. So these 3 products are to be discouraged. What? Pan masala, tobacco and tobacco products, cigarettes and cigars. And aerated water. Arey yaar, you are purchasing Bisleri, Kinley, these or that, so many are there. Tata water is there. You are purchasing aerated water, packaged water, and it is coming for free to them, and they are selling at good prices. Laga iske upar bhi, right? GST. And then there is something called as coal, lignite, right? Ye bhi free hai, correct? But lot of cost to dig this out, but on this also compensation cess is levied. And last thing, motor car. शौक बहुत है, चलो compensation cess दो थोड़ा, right? 6 products I said: pan masala, tobacco and tobacco products, coal and lignite, cigars and cigarettes, aerated water. Last वाला क्या है? Motor car. On this GST compensation cess will be levied. Now GST compensation cess किसके ऊपर लगेगा? Right? When you study cess in income tax, you understand cess is a tax on tax. Tax के ऊपर tax है. But here in GST, when you read cess, please, it is not tax on tax. When we discuss GST compensation cess is on taxable value. That means when you calculate CGST, SGST, on what value you calculate? On the same value, GST compensation cess also will be computed. Suppose you purchase a motor car for suppose 1 crore rupees. Okay. 28% GST. Okay. Now 28% GST is there on motor car. So 1 crore plus 28% GST. Oh my God, 28 lakhs. Now you don't say that 28 lakhs CGST, 28 lakhs SGST. No, nothing like that. When they simply say 28% GST, in that half will go to state, half will go to center. So on 1 crore, 28% GST means 28 lakhs GST amount. 14 lakhs to state government, 14 lakhs to central government. Now, when we calculated 28%, it is on the value of supply, that is 1 crore. Now, when you calculate GST compensation cess, it is also on that taxable value, that is 1 crore. Suppose GST compensation cess is 10%. So, on 1 crore 10%, 10 lakhs. So, how much the customer is supposed to pay? 1 crore, that is the value of the product, plus CGST 14 lakhs, SGST 14 lakhs and GST compensation cess 10 lakhs. Clear? This is how it should be paid on the taxable value. Sir, in the lecture 2, you said that we'll get input tax credit, multi-point tax system on value addition. So here we get input tax credit. You said na, right? Output tax minus input tax, then net tax payable. You discussed, yes or no? So can we get the same input tax credit with GST? GST is brought for that purpose. But sir, compensation cess. Compensation cess also you will get input tax credit. No problem at all. Okay, very good. So input tax credit available on compensation cess also. Sir, if we export the goods from India, suppose I am selling goods from Hyderabad to suppose Maldives. We are selling. We should not be consumers. We should be suppliers. Right? Okay. So when we sold goods to Maldives, what will happen? Tell me, come on. When we sold goods to Maldives, it is an export. Now government always want to encourage exports. So there is no GST on exports. So when there is no GST, no GST compensation cess also. Right? Very good. There is another scheme of taxation and that is called as composition levy. That we will discuss in the next lecture. But when composition levy is there, there is no GST compensation cess. Okay, very good. Now, how to compute actually the loss to the government? Like, sir, when you started discussing GST compensation cess, you said state government will lose revenue after bringing GST. That revenue central government has to pay. Okay, central government will pay. How? Some formula should be created, some calculation should be done, right? So that's why we brought step 1. Step 1 is base revenue. So each state, how much they earned in 2015-16. 2015, 1st April 2015 to 31st March 2016, how much each state earned. So let's take Telangana only as example for easy understanding. So what is the revenue of Telangana in 15-16? Right? You have to calculate. Then the second question comes that okay, 15-16 Telangana was formed, don't worry. 15-16 I was actually getting that doubt. So 15-16 how much Telangana earned the revenue? That is base revenue. Every year we should believe that the revenue of state will increase, whatever taxes it is. Correct? So every year 14% increase will be there in taxes. That's what we'll believe. And 15-16 base revenue, add 14%, then you will get 16-17 revenue. add 14%, 16, 17, 17, 18 revenue, again add 14%, 18, 19 revenue. Like that, each year's projected revenue can be calculated in step 2. Okay, very good. Now come to the step 3. Once you get the projected revenue, you will simply say what is the projected revenue of the state minus what is actually collected because of GST, right? Projected revenue of the state minus what is collected from GST. Whatever net amount is there, that is the loss to the state, and that loss should be paid by central government. So how it will pay? By collecting taxes in the name of CESS, cess, GST compensation cess. Now, when GST compensation cess is collected, who will keep all that money? Absolutely central government only. In that, central government said that whatever collected, 50% will keep with us only. That means it will be with central government, it will not be given to any state. Balance 50% is there, na? That the central will see states have any loss, they will try to pay that loss through that 50% only. Suppose in our example 1 crore was the value of car, 10% is the GST compensation cess, 10 lakhs became GST compensation cess collection for the central government. So all that 10 lakhs will go to central government's bank account. Okay, and central government will say 5 lakhs mera. That means central government will not give that 5 lakhs to anybody, whatever happens. That balance 5 lakhs is there, na? That will be distributed to the states based on the loss what they get. Right? This is what we understood about compensation cess. I feel there should be no doubts. Any doubts are there, you can always WhatsApp me. I'll be very happy to help you. Okay? And next lecture we'll meet and discuss about what is GST network. We'll discuss benefits of GST, GST Suvidha provider, application Suvidha provider. Sorry, right? Application software programming. Okay, that all these discussions we'll be doing in the next lecture. Till then, take care. Bye bye everybody, and do read the notes. Okay.